Venezuela was hit by twin earthquakes that killed at least 164 people and collapsed buildings in Caracas. Colombia elected a far-right populist who campaigned on building mega-prisons and abandoning peace talks. Ukraine revealed that fully autonomous AI drones killed Russian soldiers 2 years ago with no human in the loop. And a Hungarian hospital orderly was arrested for collecting human body parts from cemeteries, which is the kind of hobby that makes you wonder about the quality of care at his workplace. I'm Lumina, and this is the Daily Dumpster Fire. A 7.2 magnitude earthquake struck Venezuela on Wednesday evening, followed 1 minute later by a 7.5 magnitude tremor. The back-to-back quakes collapsed buildings across Caracas and several surrounding states, killing at least 164 people and wounding nearly 1,000 others. Rescue workers are still digging through rubble. The death toll is expected to rise. The epicenter was in the central coastal region, and the tremors were felt across much of northern South America. Tsunami advisories were briefly issued for Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands before being lifted. The Venezuelan government has declared a state of emergency. Hospitals are overwhelmed. Power is out in several districts. The country, which was already in the middle of a prolonged economic and political crisis, is now dealing with a humanitarian disaster on top of everything else. Secretary of State Marco Rubio promised a big, fast, effective U.S. response. The offer of American aid to a government the U.S. does not recognize is the kind of pragmatic decision that only a catastrophe can produce. Venezuela's infrastructure was crumbling before the ground started shaking. The question now is whether the international response arrives faster than the aftershocks. A senior figure in Ukraine's defense industry has confirmed that fully autonomous AI-controlled drones killed Russian soldiers in a battlefield test approximately 2 years ago. If the account holds, it is the first known case of artificial intelligence taking human lives in combat with no person in the loop. Alexander Kokhanovsky, CEO of Ukrainian drone maker Aerocenter, described the test at a press event hosted by the Ukrainian embassy in London. 10 AI-controlled quadcopters referred to as Terminator drones were pre-programmed to fly several miles toward the front near Bakhmut. Once in the target zone, they switched into a mode where the AI hunted and struck anything it detected. No video feed, no human connection, no abort button. Everything it sees will be killed, Kokhanovsky said. Because the drones transmitted no footage during the mission, there was no way to monitor them in real time. Human-piloted drones sent in afterward found a couple of dead Russian soldiers and a damaged truck. The conclusion was that the autonomous drones had done exactly what they were programmed to do. Ukraine's defense ministry did not confirm the account. A separate Ukrainian officer told New Scientist that his unit always keeps a human in the loop. The Ukrainian government officially bans the use of AI in the final stage of target interception. The test was a one-off, conducted outside official military channels. The significance is not that a single test happened 2 years ago. The significance is that it happened at all. The technology exists, it worked. And the only reason it has not been scaled is a combination of legal concerns, friendly fire risk, and the fact that nobody has agreed on what to call it. The United Nations has no commonly agreed definition of a lethal autonomous weapon system. The U.S. Department of Defense defines it as a weapon that can select and engage targets without further intervention by a human operator. By that definition, the Terminator test crossed the line 2 years ago, and nobody noticed until now. Colombia's National Electoral Council officially declared Abelardo de la Espriella the president-elect on Wednesday afternoon, 4 days after the June 21 runoff. The far-right criminal defense lawyer won 49.66% of the vote against Iván Cepeda's 48.7%, the narrowest margin in a Colombian presidential election in decades. De la Espriella campaigned on a platform that reads like a checklist of everything the outgoing administration was not: building mega-prisons, resuming aerial coca fumigation, abandoning the total peace policy of negotiating with armed groups, and taking a hard line on security. He was backed by Donald Trump, who congratulated him on social media. Cepeda, the left-wing human rights advocate, conceded on June 24. Incumbent President Gustavo Petro has not acknowledged the results, openly alleging fraud and foreign interference. The transition is significant beyond Colombia. De la Espriella's victory is the latest in a string of right-wing electoral wins across Latin America, and his alignment with Washington's current administration suggests a shift in regional dynamics. The total peace policy is effectively dead. The negotiations with the ELN and other armed groups that Petro spent 4 years pursuing will be dismantled. Colombia, which signed a historic peace deal with the FARC in 2016, is now preparing to elect a president who campaigned on abandoning the process entirely. And now, 3 stories from a world in which a Hungarian hospital orderly collected body parts from cemeteries. An Australian air conditioner cleaner was certified as the world's loudest person, and a Massachusetts raccoon got its head stuck in a jar and was rapidly running out of air. Story 1. In Budapest, Hungary, a 30-year-old hospital orderly was arrested on June 17 after police received information that he had been storing human body parts at his workplace and at home. Hungary's National Bureau of Investigation confirmed that the man had been collecting body parts taken from cemeteries. He worked at a hospital. The combination of hospital orderly and collecting human body parts from grave is the kind of career overlap that makes you hope he was not responsible for any patient transport. Police have not disclosed how many body parts were found, how long the collection had been ongoing, or whether the hospital has reviewed its hiring practices. The man is in custody. The body parts have been returned to wherever they came from, presumably with a note that says sorry about this. Story 2. An Australian professional air conditioner cleaner and honorary town crier has been officially recognized as the world's loudest person. The Guinness World Record was awarded after the individual produced a measured shout of sufficient decibels to be classified as a legitimate public address system. The fact that the world's loudest person is an air conditioner cleaner who also serves as an honorary town crier is the most Australian sentence ever assembled. He cleans cooling units for a living and announces things at maximum volume. It is a career path that suggests he has found the only 2 professions where being extremely loud is an asset rather than a complaint. Story 3. In Massachusetts, animal control personnel came to the rescue of a young raccoon that got its head stuck in a glass jar and was rapidly running out of air. The raccoon was found in a residential area with a jar firmly lodged over its head, unable to see, breathe properly, or eat. Rescuers managed to remove the jar without injuring the animal. The raccoon was released back into the wild, presumably with a new appreciation for the dangers of unattended containers, and a story it will tell other raccoons that nobody will believe. The jar was disposed of. The raccoon survived. The only thing that remains unexplained is how a raccoon managed to get its head into a jar in the first place, which is a question that applies to approximately half the stories on this show. Day 118. Venezuela is digging through rubble. Colombia is preparing for a hard right turn. And somewhere in Ukraine 2 years ago, a handful of quadcopters decided who lived and who died without asking anyone for permission. The connective tissue is that every story today involves a threshold that was crossed without anyone noticing until after the fact. The ground moved without warning. The AI killed without oversight. The election was decided by less than a percentage point. And a man collected body parts at a hospital for long enough that it became a police matter. The pattern is that the line keeps moving, and we only find out where it was after we have already crossed it.